My past came back to haunt me. I'll never get my husband back, but I honestly think he was unfair with me. Hello, True Story. Hopefully, my email finds you and you're able to share my story with your listeners. I'm not a man, I was a wife to the greatest man on earth, and my past caused him to divorce me. Before I tell what happened, I have to say that I believe my ex husband was wrong for leaving me. Yes, I understand being upset, but counseling could have fixed all of this. What I've done in my past isn't who I am now, or the day I met him 8 years ago. Part of me thinks that my husband left because he needed a reason to. But at the same time, I felt that our marriage was great. I was the perfect housewife. He never had to do anything after coming home from work. Financially, I never had to worry about anything. We just balanced each other out. Taking care of the home is a full-time job. Even though we couldn't have children, I woke up every day to clean, handle errands he needed, grocery shopping, shopping for the house, being here when the cable guy or the plumber needed to come. It was a lot of work, and my ex-husband understood. I never said no when he wanted it, and didn't expect him to put my needs first when we did it. But every time, he always made sure I was taken care of. This man is perfect, and it burns me to see him smiling in pictures on Facebook with another woman. He got with some woman and he's gotten her pregnant. She has one child already. I'm afraid he's going to marry her, and I need to stop that before it happens. I've read several stories of couples remarrying after infidelity or just splitting because they've grown apart. I deserve my ex-husband. I know I'm a good woman, and he knows it as well. He's just embarrassed by what he's learned about my past. But I was 25 years old and drunk out of my mind. Everyone in attendance besides me and my best friend at the time were well over 30, some even in their 40s and 50s. It was an experience and one-time thing. I never knew it would come back to haunt me, though. So I'll cut to the chase. Back in college, a friend and I decided to join a group of individuals in this town. We went to college in this town, and this college is a very well-known college, but it's in a very, very small town. People in the town, married couples and some singles, all get together for these events. Let's just say they have adult fun, consensual. It's located at a barn, a very, very big barn. It looks like nothing on the outside, but in the inside, it's beautiful, very lavish. Has rooms and everything. We decided to go. We heard from other girls and guys from the college, and a night was coming up, an event, and we decided to join. By the way, I grew up very insecure. You know, I was a fat kid in college and a fat kid in high school. I started to lose the weight around this time, actually 2 years before I went to this party. But I lost the weight and got into great shape, but I still was very insecure. I didn't believe I was pretty, even though people would tell me that I was. My friend and I, my best friend at the time, we decided to go. We were very nervous, so we pre-gamed beforehand. Then we drove there and we pre-gamed again. Almost backed off until one guy walked by the car and was asking us if we were going in. This guy was hot. I mean, smoking hot. My friend and I both said, we just want him. Forget everybody else. We didn't care about everybody else that was walking in. There were some older couples walking in looking like they were in their 50s, probably 40s though. There were some younger people walking in their 30s, it looked like. But my friend and I were clearly the youngest ones there. We didn't care. We were just going to have fun. Everything was protected unless you chose not to do so. But we weren't going to do that. We get inside. There's music, drinks. People are laughing, having conversations. Next thing you know, you turn left and there's people kissing. You turn right, there's people doing it. On the sofa, people heading to bedrooms. and it just looks like it was just a free for all. We spotted the guy that walked past our car and asked if we were going in, and we ran over to him smiling. He just started kissing me. Then he kissed my friend, and we both took his hand, and he took us to a room. Now, I only expected to be with this guy. I didn't really care about being with anyone else, but people started coming in, both males and females, and things just happened. And that entire night, we were just all over the just enjoying adult consensual fun. Now, again, this is something I've never done before. This is something I didn't do afterwards either. It was simply just an experience. We left early in the morning, my friend and I, and we had no regrets. We didn't feel bad. We didn't feel dirty. It was just an experience. And a few days later, I think my friend was very worried. She thought she felt a little weird down there. So we both went to the doctor, got checked out a few times. We were all good. In the clear. Nothing between either of us. I'm pretty sure she never did it again, but after college, we both graduated. That following year after college, we lost contact. She's actually across country. I hadn't seen her in a while, but I thought I found love one day. I was in the park. This is what I typically did on a nice warm day. I just had picnics by myself and read a book and just hung out, something I enjoyed doing. Again, I know people listening will probably think I was just a promiscuous woman and I was being nasty, but it was just a one-time thing. I am a person that stays to myself. I rarely make love outside of relationships before I met my husband. I love to read. I love working. That's it. I'm a simple person. So I'm in the park enjoying the weather, reading a book, eating good food, Fig Newtons. I loved him, and I see a guy, handsome guy, and a kid playing. They end up near me, and the kid ran over to my area and was asking to have some of my food, so I gave him some. I had plenty. The guy came over apologizing and I offered him some of my food, and he took some. We sat there and we talked for a good 40 minutes, headed out. That guy ended up becoming my husband. Before we even married, he told me if I wanted to quit working, I could. He could take care of me. Early in our relationship, we realized that I couldn't have a child for personal reasons. I don't want to speak on it, but I can't carry a child. And I cried. And I was so sad, and he held me and told me, it's okay. It's just not in the cards for us. We got married and we had a wonderful life. I stayed home and I cared for the home, took care of everything. My ex-husband made a lot of money. So financially things were great, no issues ever. Home was always taken care of by me. We took trips, enjoyed life. One day after going to my husband's job, Christmas party, this was the next day after the Christmas party, my husband comes home from work, highly upset with me, and he's asking me about my past. Is there anything I need to tell him? Have I been hiding anything from him? I had no idea what he was talking about. I had actually forgotten all about this event that took place while I was in college. It's something I put in the back of my mind, and I never wanted to reminisce about it. I didn't care about it. It was just an experience, like I said. He tells me his boss told him that he slept with me, and it wasn't just a casual, we dated before. His boss admitted that he met me and my friend at the party back when I was 25. This guy had to be one of the older guys there, not the young guy. When my ex-husband told me it was at a party, I knew exactly what he was talking about. And he told me to admit what type of parties that I used to go to and frequent. And I explained to him just like I explained here in the email. I went to a party one time. That's it. Yes, I knew where I was going. It was just an experience. Nothing I'd ever done again. Nothing I did before. He told me that his boss said this is something that happened often, and he's sure that I used to frequent this bar for the parties and events. I assured him that wasn't true, and I truly wish I would have had contact with my friends, because I would have had my ex-husband speak to her and she would have confirmed we only went one time. After explaining all of this to my ex-husband, He seemed like he was going to get over it, like it wasn't a big deal, because it truly wasn't. I don't know what he's done in college, and I don't care. But after a couple days, he said he just couldn't take it. Days later after that, I'm being served divorce papers. I cried. I begged him not to do this. I'm not the person he thought I was. He told me it's embarrassing, going to work, and he may have to quit his job. He feels like all the guys are laughing at him, knowing that one of his bosses, who is a complete prick, by the way, slept with his wife. He just can't get over it. It's almost like my ex-husband was saying he has to either find another job or he stays at this job and he has to divorce me because of the shame. I actually tried looking for jobs for him, and I'd present him with jobs, but they just didn't pay as much as his current job. So he decided to divorce me. So if there's any women listening, they'll probably think, well, oh well, you stay at home mom, you get alimony. It's not the case. So I signed a prenup before we married. It was actually my suggestion. So one day while we were dating, he left me at his apartment. And like any other normal person, I went snooping through his things. And I discovered how much money he actually makes. My ex-husband is pretty much rich, at least on paper. If he sold a lot of his things that he owns and things like that, he'd be a millionaire, or maybe he's technically a millionaire. He doesn't carry himself like one, and I always loved that. I always loved that he didn't want to showboat and he was a saver. He's really, really good with his money. But I brought it up and he smiled as if he was hoping that I'd say that or be okay with signing a prenup. So he got an ironclad prenup. I signed it. 2 lawyers were there. The lawyer that I had actually was telling me maybe I shouldn't do this. But I wanted to prove to my ex-husband that I wasn't with him for his money. I wanted him and only him for him. And I could always go back to my old career. I'm good at what I do, and I made decent money as well. And that's actually what I ended up doing. So in the end, I got nothing. No cars, no homes, no money, absolutely nothing. Just what I came with. And he moved on to another woman. Already. I often wonder if he was actually cheating on me, because how did he move on so fast? I don't know. Maybe he just took the first woman that showed him any interest. But true story, I felt like this would be a great platform to send my story, because I know a lot of you all think that a lot of women are just promiscuous and they're cheaters and liars, and that's not the case here. I did something that wasn't me out of insecurity. It had nothing to do with me wanting to be promiscuous at all. I never was that, ever in life. But my past came back to haunt me, like I said. My goal is to get my husband back. Yes, I said my husband because I'm speaking it into existence. I can still contact him on Facebook, and I'm considering sending him this long letter that I wrote via Facebook, or maybe I'll handwrite it. I wrote it here on my tablet. But maybe I'll handwrite it because it feels more personal if I do that. Anyway, this letter, no matter how I do it, I want to get it to him. If you want to check it out, you can read it here, but I'm just hoping for the best, because I truly didn't deserve this. Wow, okay, let's check out this letter. Dear Lester, you were hands down the love of my life and everything I had ever wanted. I fell for every single thing about you, from your beautiful eyes to the way your face scrunched up every time you laughed or smiled. Meeting you was like a breath of fresh air, and I saw it as a blessing in my life. Do you remember that day at the park? You were flying kites with your nephew, and I was there having a picnic alone, and your nephew was asking me for some of my food. Fig Newtons. I shared them with the both of you. And I was glad to discover you were a single man, so I gladly gave you my number. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, until I ruined it all. I know people will talk and both of us will hear things about each other, but I want you to know, I never once cheated on you, and I never meant to hurt you in any way whatsoever. My past is my past and shall remain there. There was no reason for me to ever tell you about that. Why would I? As you know, I had a rough childhood filled with lies, neglect, and insecurity. So at 25, doing something like that made me feel pretty and wanted. I know I used my bad experience as an excuse to be a part of an arranged adult group. For that, I apologize. But this is not the sole purpose as to why I'm writing this letter. I am writing this to express my guilt and disappointment in myself, and to truly apologize. Whether you accept it or not, I need you to know that hurting you was never my intention. Seeing you sad absolutely crushed me inside, and to see you cry because of me was the worst feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. I honestly can tell you I've been so happy throughout our entire relationship. I'm embarrassed I did something like that in my past. I'm sorry for never telling you. I guess, in a way, I lied to you. You were the only good part of my day, and now I have nothing. Of course, I'd be glad if you were happy and moving on, but I feel like we're soulmates and we belong together. I will never find someone as understanding, comforting, lovable, and just overall as amazing as you. The things I felt with you are things I have never and will never feel with another person. I don't want to lose you for good, not to anyone. I miss you so much. I know you still miss me. I just want you to know that you deserve nothing but the best, and I will give you all of that. You are truly one of a kind, and I hope one day you will be able to forgive me for all the pain I've caused you. If our paths are to cross once again in the future, please don't forget to bring back the pieces of my heart. But until we meet again, I wish you the best.